Welcome to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, the original post-game podcast on Planet Purple, brought to you by FanDuel and the Believe Podcast Network. We will talk tonight about the trade deadline. We will talk tonight about the Suns playing the Warriors. And we will talk tonight about them completely and fucking utterly shitting the fucking bed.
Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. My name's John. That's Matthew. That's Sunsky. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man? Are you a little upset tonight?
Pissed. Pretty pissed.
Bad loss.
Very bad loss against a team without Jimmy Butler, a team without Steph Curry, a team that just traded 3 players away, a team that is undermanned. The Suns completely and utterly shit the bed tonight. Just completely and utterly.
Yeah, not very Suns-like. Did you see my comment in the private chat though about your mic?
Me?
Because I think it's picking up just the computer.
Yeah, it's like the webcam.
I don't want to do the whole Bill Simmons thing where he records the whole podcast on the computer.
How about now?
So that's perfect.
There you go.
We could hear you. There was just a little echo there, so I just want to make sure.
But you know what? To start off the podcast, that kind of worked because that's the kind of tone we're going to have in this podcast because it was such a bad loss.
Horrible loss, man. I mean,
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask what the fuck happened tonight.
With the trade deadline over, you would think some guys like Oso or even Ryan Dunn, I know they're not really on the trade block, but I feel like mentally, heading into this game, like they're probably like, oh, maybe there's a chance I might be traded, right? So maybe they play all out and that might be the stars of the game. They weren't really. I think they did an okay job, but we need guys like that to really show up in games like this because you said Golden State was shorthanded, we're of course shorthanded without Devin Booker and Jalen Green, but that's just a normal thing this season. It's kind of rare to see a Suns team play like this from start to finish where, they make the 16-point comeback. And then just after that, I mean, the Warriors do. But then after that, you would think the Suns might pick it up with like 1 minute left, and it just did not happen. It was kind of weird and really rare to see.
Suns Geek, what the fuck happened?
First off, I want to address a comment, Mr. Andersons. I hope I said that right. All the Warriors fans in attendance tonight, that was ridiculous. You would have thought that this was a Warriors home game with the way that they celebrated with, at the end of the game, you know what I mean? After they won, I thought it was a Warriors home game. But just like Matthew said, a bad start from the jump, really. The Suns had like no energy. They were making lazy passes out there. They couldn't hit a freaking shot, especially in that first half. They were letting the Warriors just take any 3 they wanted, especially from the corner. 21 first quarter threes attempted for the Warriors. I don't know what was wrong with the Suns tonight. I don't know what the defensive game plan was tonight, but the Suns did not look like themselves. And I hope that Jordan Ott and his coaching staff give them an earful.
Yeah, I feel like the primary reason this loss, and for those of you who didn't see the game, the Suns lose 101-97. They get outscored 25-15 in the fourth quarter. The Golden State Warriors ended on a 24-7 run, which means the Suns started the fourth quarter going on an 8-1 run and were up by 14 in that fourth quarter. And the wheels completely fell off. And the challenge of this, with this, and the reason this occurred is because of a guy who is the first entry in my burn book tonight.
The Suns Jam Session Burn Book.
Dylan, the villain.
The shot selection in the fourth quarter by Dylan Brooks, who went 1 of 6 in the fourth quarter, was absolutely atrocious and abhorrent. He dribbled the air out of the ball until the shot clock was exhausted, and then forced up horrible 3-pointers, 2-pointers, all over, just chucking trash. And like the final possession that the Suns had, like Jordan Goodwin comes open on the back end and he's like, no, I've got to do the Kobe here. I've got to be the hero. And it's the thing that they're going to go into that locker room and Jordan Ott's going to be like, dude, use your fucking teammates. Pass the fucking ball. Colin Gillespie's out there. Yep. Jordan Goodwin's out there. Mark Williams should have been out there. Yeah. Royce O'Neal's out there. But Mark Williams should be out there in late game situations for 2 reasons. One, he can rebound better than Oso Ighodaro. And 2, he can score better. There's lobs, there's opportunities. Oso is better on the floor to switch defend. By the way, he had a horrible switch on the last play for D'Anthony Melton. He went to go rush D'Anthony Melton. D'Anthony Melton just went the wrong way, and Oso was lost and didn't know where he was, and he was laying the ball in, and that's what tied the game at 97 apiece. So the team, in no other words that are appropriate, shit the fucking bed on this one. They completely and utterly fell apart, and it was almost as if the Grayson Allen injury, which we'll see what happens with that, and I want to talk about that a little bit later, completely derailed their guiding light on offense, because he was the one who was dictating pace. He was the one who was facilitating, and once he was gone, it was just like, give the ball to Dylan and get the fuck out of the way, which is never the right answer.
The thing is with Dylan, though, we kind of give him the keys to do that now, right? Like, he has those shots. Like, we have to live and die by it. Like, Kobe's always had probably 40% of his games where they just look horrendous. Like, you're like, oh, he's 1 for 16 in the second half. Like, because we keep saying these things where it's like, well, he looks like Kobe out there. He's going to be Kobe. I feel like as fans, we kind of give him just like that. We give him that whole purpose of being the guy and taking the bad shots, because we talk about him being an all-star. We're talking about being the best player right now besides Devin Booker. And he's going to have to take those shots. So I feel like it's just like the only thing we have left. Because I love this team, obviously, but before the season, no one thought they would be this good. And when you list off those names, like the Gillespie, the Mark Williams, and even like, Oso and stuff, it's like, wait, we want those guys to take over too. You know what I mean? So I think Dylan just thinks he's the man, that he has to take those shots no matter what.
And like what Nefarious Max says in the chat, he goes, but after the third missed shot, you got to pass the ball. And the thing that Dylan Brooks has done, and I talked about on the last podcast, and I commended him for it, is in the last game, he only shot the ball twice in the fourth quarter. And that was a game where they were clawing back and it was a close game against the Portland Trailblazers, to where the Suns and head coach Jordan Ott utilized ball movement to open up opportunities for players rather than stagnation. And tonight we saw complete and utter stagnation. And to your point, Matthew, yes, he has, especially without Devin Booker and without Jalen Green, been given keys to the kingdom, if you will. But with great power comes great responsibility. And part of that responsibility is understanding that you need to pass the ball when appropriate. And if you don't got it, you don't got it. In the fourth quarter, he didn't have it. And again, the past couple games, he's done that. He's exercised that restraint. He's taken a couple shots like he did in Portland. They didn't go in. He started deferring. He started standing in the corner and focusing on his defensive abilities and his defensive assignments. And tonight he thought he was Kobe, and it clearly backfired, Sunsky.
Yeah. My whole thing was, D'Anthony Melton locked him up. He almost lost control of the ball like twice.
Yes.
And it's
pass out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you were you said it earlier, like Colin Gillespie was like somebody who was actually running around out there on that possession. Royce O'Neal kind of was standing there, but like, I was just like, Dylan, like, what are you doing? You're literally getting clawed down, and you're almost going to turn the ball over twice. You're kind of getting near the out of bounds line. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, I was surprised he broke free and was able to even get that shot off, even though it was an ugly attempt.
Horrible shot.
I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what the coaching staff was thinking. Besides Colin Gillespie, I don't know why anybody else didn't like move and try to like, receive the ball. Just a horrible fourth quarter for the Suns. Terrible collapse. And I think I agree with you, John. right when Grayson Allen went out with that ankle injury, and hopefully he's okay, by the way. I think that's when all the momentum shifted. They were just like, all right, whatever happens, happens. And this is, you guys know me. I stay very positive and optimistic. I'm a little bit of a negative Nancy right now. This is a bad loss.
And to Era 145's comment in the chat, he says Colin was going nuclear during the Portland game, different circumstances. Colin was 2 of 4 from beyond the arc in the fourth quarter in this one. He was the guy who was feeling it in the fourth quarter. He was the guy who they should have been running offense through and allowing him to dictate. Now, granted, he went down and tried to make a play late in the game and got blocked by Horford. And again, that's bad coaching, bad rotations, because Oso Ighodoro's in there. So what does it mean when Oso Ighodoro is standing at the perimeter? It means Al Horford can hang out in the paint and block anything that comes in there and provide a double team. And it's exactly what happened. Whereas if Mark Williams is in the game, one, you have to respect him a little bit more because he can shoot a jump shot, and two, he can go and grab a rebound if need be. So it was poor spacing. And again, like, it's funny because you have the Western Conference Player of the Week shit the bed, and the Western Conference Coach of the Month shit the bed in this one. That's I'm gonna name this podcast "The Sun Shit the Bed." Like, that's the name of it. Because I've said it 10 times.
The thing with Dylan too, it's hard to take because he's such an unattractive player. It's not a sexy game, and when it's looking bad, and he is 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter, it looks like 1 for 12, and that's just the real. That's us just realizing that he's not that guy. Like, Devin Booker can have an off night, be like, well, those are good shots. Those are just Booker shots, right? Because I think these shots he's shooting are Dylan shots, and they've been going down a lot this season. That's why when it's not, and we end up shitting the bed, like you said, giving up the 14-point lead in the fourth quarter, it's going to look even worse. It's going to sound worse the next day when people are talking about it, and even after the game like us. I do think, though, that this is just – it's a weird thing because I think the last minute I kind of felt this team was not going to get a good shot. The momentum that swung in the last minute or 2 minutes with the Warriors, just the bench, you just felt like even the energy. I felt like there was like a lot of Warriors fans there. Yeah. You just kind of felt like Gillespie was not going to be able to finish it, get a good shot, and he didn't. And he was on the ground a lot. Grayson Allen went out with the injury, obviously. But even then, you think the Suns, like, I didn't think even if Grayson Allen's in there, they're not going to have that kind of juice they need to kind of finish this type of game. And this is a type of game the Suns always finish off, and they just didn't do it. And I can't really blame too much. I know you guys are a little hot-headed right now, but the worst part is the losses right now in the West with the standings. It's like you want to get into that 6th seed, and I know it's halfway through, a little over halfway through the season. But games like this against the Warriors team, like you said, without Steph Curry, these are games that the Suns usually win because of that. And obviously they're going to win it. And with that win, you got to make sure you get into the 60. But it's also something where it's like we've been doing this all season long, where we take these easier wins, even though we don't have our stars. We think of them as easier because the other team doesn't have their guys. We're at home. We're behind the home crowd. We think this is going to be a win. But seriously, like, the doubt crept in like 2 minutes. And I haven't had that for a while this season.
This was definitely a trap game because of a lot of the reasons you just mentioned. And it's trade deadline day. It seems like a lot of teams lose in general on trade deadline day. A lot of weird rosters out there. Players are gone, especially with the Warriors and the whole Jonathan Kuminga situation. But this was just a bad loss, man. I'm not saying our season's over or anything. I do believe the Suns will bounce back from this. Hopefully they'll go to the film room. Hopefully, like I mentioned, Jordan Ott and his coaching staff give them an earful because they definitely deserve it after this. I believe we're still 10 games over 500, which is really good. But this was definitely a trap game, man. This is just one of those losses where it's like you hope the Suns will learn from this because the schedule is going to get tougher from here on out. And we don't know when Devin Booker's going to be back. We don't know about Jalen Green, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you have to win these kind of games, and the Suns didn't win this game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like if you win this game, you go to 5-2 in the 7 games that Devin Booker's been out since he got injured. And every win is an opportunity for Devin Booker to get more rest. And, there's videos that Dwayne Rankin is posting about how he's looking good. He's on the court. He's moving around, and if the Suns are on borrowed time, they can get to the All-Star break and get him some much needed rest, right? Because there's 8 days baked into the All-Star break. But when you lose something like this and you see how completely inept the Suns become, in the fourth quarter, and it's not the first time this has happened, obviously, in his absence, it does put a little pressure to go, you know what, because of the Western Conference standings, because of the fact that the Suns, on a night like tonight where the Lakers won, the Rockets lost, but the Lakers won. They come back against the Philadelphia 76ers, who the Suns will be playing on Saturday.
Yep.
You lose ground in the standings again.
Yep.
And the goal is to be a 60. The goal is to not mess with the play-in, because the moment you mess with the play-in, you never know what could happen. And if you run into a Clippers team, albeit they're a very different and transformative team post trade deadline, it's still a situation you don't want to put yourself into. So, it's just one of those, it's a reactionary podcast. Welcome to the Suns Jam session, where when we win one game, we feel great. When we lose one game, it's like, that kind of sucks.
The season's over.
But when you lose a game like this, it's the second time this season the Suns, they had a 22-point lead against the Hawks earlier in the season at home, and they completely shit the bed in that one.
Don't remind me.
But there's very winnable games out there where the Suns, it's frustrating. It's frustrating on a day where I felt that the organization made the right moves on how they operated on the trade deadline. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, another thing that comes out of this that goes in the burn book is the Grayson Allen injury.
Let me tell you a little story about a guy who shoots threes. Everyone hates him because he's a dookie. He's pretty underrated if you're asking me. His name is Grayson Allen.
So yeah, Grayson Allen leaves this game in the fourth quarter. He was 7 of 17 from the field, led the Suns in shooting from beyond the arc. He was 5 of 13. He had 21 points. He also had 4 assists. And he is kind of, especially with Jalen Green and Devin Booker hurt, very, very, very valuable to this team. And if he's out the next game, and here's the thing, and I mentioned this on the last pod too, the past few games, he's had a hitch in his step. He's looked like he's been struggling over these past few games. That leg has really looked like it's been giving him fits. He looks like an old man out. He looks like me playing out there with an injured back, right? And of course, you watch the play. It's the same leg that he's had issues with this year. The way he kind of rolled his ankle was inward, not outward. So the opposite of how Devin Booker did it. And that brings a whole bunch of different possibilities relative to an injury in it. And so I'll ask you this, Matthew, how concerned are you that potentially in the game on Saturday, when we play against the 76ers, the Suns are without their number 1 highest paid player, their number 2 highest paid player, and their number 4 highest paid player. And the only guy who's left is the number 3 highest paid player, and that's Dillon Brooks.
Oh, I'm positive about it. I think we got Bouye, right? That guy can fucking play. I'm not worried about the injuries. I'm really not right now. There's something about this team that we've seen all season long where they overcome it, and it doesn't look like it's anything too serious. You want Grayson Allen out there as much as you can, because even the trade deadline, it's like, well, do we need some other guy that can handle the ball? Really, because Booker's been out, he's been injured, he'll probably get injured maybe one more time this year, and then Jalen Green, who knows if he's even going to play this year consistently. So I think that having another ball handler, it would have been nice, but I'm like, that's Grayson Allen though. That's Gillespie. Those are our 2 guys right now we have to run the offense through, and we have to continue to do that. So on that note, then yeah, it's going to be a couple games here and there. If he misses that, I'll be a little disappointed, but I like the fact that we get to see more Bouye. That's where my mind goes. I'm like, I love that dude. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right still after the whole season. So
what do you think, Geek?
Yeah, first off, Matthew, thank you for being the positive one tonight. I'm going to feed off that positivity a little bit, because I do believe I agree with you. Like, this team's whole thing all season long is next man up mentality, and now it's time to prove it. I don't know if Grayson Allen's going to be out for 1 game or 5 games, but now it's time to prove it. Next man up. Jamari Bouye can play.
We're running out of men. We're running out of men to be
running out of men.
Up.
But you know what? This sounds crazy. This is going to be my super optimistic take of the night. But it's time to bring in the rookies. Rasheed Fleming, come on, Malawatch, will save our season.
Do you remember them?
I'll get to them later when we talk about the trade deadline. Let's go, Cole Anthony. Welcome to the Suns. Yeah. Here's the ball. Run this thing. You know,
for real. Drop 20 points and all that.
Again, I think it's. We also lost Isaiah Livers in this game because he got a cold shoulder from
shoulder injury.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So again, it's one of those games where you leave not only emotionally hurt and drained, but physically the team is also just depleted.
Yep.
Another thing that's in the burn book is just how the Suns permit the Warriors to shoot the way they did in the first half. The Warriors were 15 of 37 from beyond the arc. The Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, the team that has Steph Curry on them, the team that had Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole for a little bit, they had never shot more than 37 three-point attempts in the first half in their history until they did tonight. And so, again, that's why I put this one on Ott. Ott did not now they adjusted a little bit in the third quarter, but that was primarily they upped the D. The turnover started to happen. But then in the fourth quarter, again, the Warriors 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. The Suns 3 of 11. The Suns were, in my opinion, in this game, completely and utterly outcoached. And if you look at this season, Steve Kerr has fucked Ott in every game. 3-1 to the Warriors. Or the Warriors are 3-1 against us. We're 1-3 against the Warriors. 1-3 this year. They're close games, but we lose. Why? Because Ott, rookie head coach, Steve Kerr, I get it. But the fact is the fact. He was outcoached tonight again.
Yeah. That goes with the championship experience with Steve Kerr and all that, all the years in the league, coaching and all that. And I hope this is one of those like, hey, we're going to take a bunch of notes on this and watch a bunch of film because this was one of those bad losses. And I'm glad earlier that you referenced that Hawks loss because this kind of reminds me of that. But I think the Hawks loss was a little bit worse. But I will say, though, at least like we're reacting like this because our season has been so surprisingly good. And I believe when we are at least 90% healthy, we're a top 10 team. So it's good that we're kind of reacting like this. But Matthew, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it starts with the coaching, obviously, but these players got to step it up. I mean, also, I don't even know if I'm gonna play his drop because we're in the burn book, but the competence on the guy, it's tough to watch because like he's heavily relied on in the fourth quarter, right? And I think the whole Mark Williams thing not playing is really tough because his stats look good heading into the fourth quarter. If you're looking at it, you're like, oh, how come he didn't play? I mean, it's like, he already has 10 rebounds. Obviously, reasons why defensively and all that. But I think the fact that Oso is still not, he's been giving so much opportunity this year. And I don't see the guy that's really trying to take advantage of it, right? Those little bunny hook shots that he does, the push shots are really frustrating to me at times and almost every time because they're not laid in there confidently, I guess. I don't even know how to explain how you shoot that shot confidently.
No, you're right.
When he's given the opportunity anytime in the game offensively, it's never there to finish. It just hasn't been. And we need him in these games because injuries are going to happen. And he's been playing more minutes, I think, than almost anybody on that team right now. Mm-hmm. And he needs to win us a game. He really does. I know, defensively, Ott's going to rely on him, but offensively, he needs to step up. So that's where I'm going with that. Because I think you can be outcoached, of course, and teams can get hot to make or miss league. But the fact that the Suns still have guys that we rely on and are not stepping up, then they're still here past the trade deadline. It kind of frustrates me at times.
And the thing with Oso is there's so much positivity when you look at him in certain situations and through a certain lens. Because throughout the season, he's had, I'll say this, he's ahead of Ryan Dunn relative to development.
Yeah.
I was talking about it in a couple podcasts ago, but he's one of the best isolation defenders in the entire league. And that's his upside. But the downside of Oso, and we've seen it the past couple games, is teams are realizing that him on the perimeter on offense is a joke. Because what the Suns attempt to do is run high screen actions and dribble handoffs with him above the break or out on the three, out beyond the arc, or at least out of the post. And the goal in that situation is to try to bring a big man out with him. And then when that dribble handoff comes, then the Suns have something advantageous in some capacity. Either the big man's out there and who, if it's Colin Gillespie or especially Grayson Allen, I'm going to grab the ball and I'm going to touch the paint and good things will happen. Whether, I pass out of it to a wide open 3-point shooter, whatever. But what we witnessed against Portland, what we witnessed against the Clippers, what we witnessed tonight is other teams say, okay, when they hand you the ball out there, I'm 10 feet away from you. because there's no reason for you to do a dribble handoff and try to screen anybody because you're not going to do anything. And you see, because you hand the ball to Oso beyond the 3-point line, he's not looking at the basket once because he can't. That's the disadvantage of him on the offensive end. Again, defensively, he makes sense because of his switchability and what he can do defending point of attack, bigs, wings. He can guard a lot of people out there. Might not always be effective, but it always is disruptive. But that's the push and the pull, right? That's the the tug of war that Ott has to deal with. And again, it's unfortunate that the Suns have a timeout, an opportunity to set up a play, and they dribble the shit out of the ball. And as Suns Geek mentioned, Dylan Brooks nearly loses it like 3 times. And again, like, call another timeout right there. Like, it's reset that possession and pull Oso out of there because he is so ineffective offensively in certain situations. And that's one of those situations where you have to be better in understanding what this player can provide to you. Okay. Because he is a complete zero in spacing the floor, complete zero. Even with Mark Williams out there, you at least have a threat. But in all honesty, you could go complete small ball in that situation. Run Ryan Dunn at the fucking 5 if you're in that situation, just to create spacing and open up opportunities and force this version of the Golden State Warriors, force this version of them to make a decision and put them in, because the decisions were made for them tonight. Oh, cool. Oso's out there. Well, we don't need to guard that. We can double the paint. We know that that's where Dylan wants to go. We're going to fluster him and force him to shoot a fadeaway 22-footer going to his left. It's just horrible.
That's kind of what scares me going up against certain teams coming up for the rest of the season is like, what are we going to do against like certain bigs in this league or certain offenses in this league? Because like you said, they're just going to kind of ignore Oso and wave him off. Oso is a very talented player. He has a lot of potential. I'm glad he's a part of this team, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also a lot that he can't do, as you just mentioned. And, he's going to have to learn a lot. He's going to go through a lot of growing pains this season. And hopefully, it's not against hopefully he plays well against the better teams is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that was one kind of concern, and I'm sure we're going to talk about all the trade deadline stuff. That was one of my kind of concerns. It was like, okay, we got rid of Nick Richards, but like, what are we going to do against like the Jokic's of the league and the Embiids
Get
and et cetera?
destroyed.
So yeah, pretty much. So I don't know. And somebody in the chat had a comment. They were like, how can you like go this long without playing basketball and not have a jump shot? Like, Oso's got to start working on that jump shot, man, and his free throws too. Not trying to pick on him too much, but I'm just saying.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who can't shoot. Matthew, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
When you're that big, though, it's kind of easy to just kind of dunk on everybody growing up. That's what I think with these big guys. It's like they're so dominant on the inside of that size. Yeah.
Yep. I agree. But I'm just saying you got to get a shot though eventually in your career. That's just my opinion, especially in today's NBA. Like, you got to do it, man.
So that's Ryan Dunn still working on it, I guess, in the gym.
What's funny is, if we want to go bright side topics.
Tell me the
Right side.
Ryan Dunn's actually looked good in the past couple games. He looks a lot more under control. His jumper actually is connecting, which is big, but he doesn't look as flustered or as pressured on the defensive end, and I liked what I saw him from tonight. It's primarily the only thing I had in my notes that was good.
The whole thing with Ryan Dunn kind of reminds me of the way we talk about him is kind of like on just like a Kmart level of like what people talk about with DeAndre Ayton. Like, there's like little glimpses there, like, oh, dude, looks really good, right? Like, he's actually gonna be a Laker still past the trade deadline. Like, there's little signals here and there that's showing us that he could be a center. Like, Dunn does the same thing to us in a different way, where he does go through like little spurts here and there, like, oh, there he is. If he can just, and then he goes through like the biggest withdrawals for like a couple weeks. It's like, dude, this guy is miserable to watch, and he has no confidence in his game. He can't shoot the ball. He's jumping and trying to dunk the ball on rebounds, and he just slaps the backboard. It's like, what the fuck? Like, he's the only guy I've ever seen in the NBA that keeps doing that all the time, where he'll just miss an offensive rebound but then slap the backboard. It's just, is he just doing that to be flashy, to show how far he can fucking jump? Because it's not working for me when he's doing that. I do like the fact that, Ott's been consistent with him, right, to give him a chance, because there's still that ounce of slim chance of him really having a breakthrough post like All-Star break part of the year. It might be something that happens. So that's the one thing with Ott is like he's been consistent with all his guys, whether or not they're driving us nuts. And for the most part, they have shown us that they can prove themselves and play within the system and become very valuable. And he still has a little bit of chance to kind of show that at the end of the season, because he's going to get more minutes still, because we still need him to play because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Real quick, if I can just quickly pick on Ryan Dunn, it sometimes seems like he tries to like posterize everybody every like 2 seconds. He needs to kind of cut that out.
Yeah, just put the ball on the hoop.
Yeah, for real. But I will agree with you though, John. He has looked like a lot more confident the last few games. I think it's been more of his energy. That's what I've been seeing. And he's just been more confident taking the shot, even if he misses. I feel like he did have some good moments out there. Hopefully he can keep getting more minutes and kind of come back to what we are all expecting him to be. Because I forgot who said it earlier, but like Oso's kind of grown a little bit more than he has. So hopefully he can finally take that step up and keep growing this season, because we're really going to need him, and we're going to need him to be more of an offensive threat out there. So hopefully he can keep taking those shots and actually make them.
And then per Dwayne Rankin, Jordan Ott said Grayson Allen left the game with a knee injury as he checked out with 3:03 in the fourth.
Yeah,
so.
that I tweeted about that. I think I was like, I think it was the ankle, but it was like he kind of looked like he landed awkwardly on the knee too. I was like, that was just a weird freak accident. You know what I mean? That was. I figured it was that. I didn't want him to injure the knee, but I figured it was the knee.
Phoenix Suns, home of the freak injuries.
Yep.
I do want to talk a little bit about the subreddit, and there wasn't much.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Brought to you by Nettles Air Conditioning.
We've got you covered. NettlesAirs.com is where to go, brother. Call 623-444-4888. Nettles Air makes your home feel great.
Woo! Sunsgeek's calling right now. I will say that this was primarily a subreddit that was full of comments just frustrated with their team, frustrated with the deadline, frustrated with pods. They didn't really have much to say about the Suns. So that's why Batman didn't show up. They said, why do we have to play Dylan Brooks today of all days? That aged great for them. Are we not allowed to rebound? I would love to have D. Brooks on my team. Pat Spencer has an impressive mustache, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Horford, such a cutie patootie. I was like, what's Matthew doing in the Warriors subreddit talking about how Horford's a cutie patootie? Sounds like
do I like him? Is he one of mine?
No, just a cutie patootie sounds like something you'd say.
Oh, something I would say. A lot of people, a lot of podcasts, one podcast, they really like, he's an attractive dude, but I always thought he was kind of, I don't know, not that cute.
Yeah, Horford, not my type. Get that broccoli basketball terrorist off the court. Talking about pods.
Oh,
God, Grayson Allen and Dylan Brooks on one team. I hate them both so much. And then they said, can't wait for the season to be over. And then the Suns completely and utterly shit the fucking bed.
Yeah.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right. Anything else you guys have in your notes before we jam start, talk a little trade deadline, and go to fucking sleep?
Just one thing from me, just the whole the shot to livers from Draymond, like that was fucked. I thought I saw him walking around with his shoulder, obviously, and yelling at the Warriors bench, and I knew it was Draymond. I didn't see it happen.
Did.
I didn't see it. I had to rewind it and watch it again. But I'm like, how is that not reviewed in something like a flagrant or something? Because Draymond knows what he's doing there. Yep. And I was fucked up. And then freaking Gillespie got hit in the nuts too. Like, I'm sick of this. And Draymond's gonna go to hell. I can't wait till he dies and goes to hell. So I had to add that in there.
Okay, that's a little dark. That's a little dark.
Well, God, I'm from the Western Conference.
But what I'll say is, if Dylan Brooks does either one of those things, he's teed up instantly.
Yep.
Yes, I know.
If he
but
turns the shoulder
Draymond's-
and then leans into somebody,
Draymond knows what he's doing, and he
Yeah,
played it off pretty good. But you can tell he knew he was coming because a couple possessions before, Livers was kind of driving him nuts. They
yeah,
were talking a little bit, kind of. It seemed like I'm like Draymond's going to do something, and there he is. He lit him up, and he might be out for the year. Who knows? Draymond, man,
dirty
I'm
fucking
a
player,
little-
I'm
man.
not going to say.
I'm a little
else.
sensitive when it comes to shoulder injuries because I've had 2 of them.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember the first time I was ever on your podcast?
Yes.
I had the sling and everything. That sucks. So I feel for Isaiah Livers. He's a lot tougher than me though, because one, he was holding the shoulder, but he still went up to the referee and was like barking at him. And then he went to the locker room. So hopefully he's okay because shoulder injuries, guys, let me tell you, they suck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Livers is always smiling. He's always like, everything's cool. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm great. And then this is the first time I've ever seen him in pain or just
For
upset.
real. Yep.
Yeah, Draymond Green, dirty fucking player. And then a sack tap, clear and utter sack tap. And like Dylan Brooks has literally done the same thing where he flails into somebody and he'll hit somebody in the groin or anywhere,
Yeah.
and he gets called for a technical or a flagrant one every time. But this one, they're like, no big deal.
Like,
It's
Suns
the
are just
Warriors.
gonna win anyways. Who cares? Get this over with.
Yeah, and they were wrong. They were wrong.
Jam star of the game.
Jam Star of the Game brought to you by Bubba Chubbs Cards and Collectibles. Visit BubbaChubbsCards.com and visit them on Instagram at Bubba Chubbs Cards on the IG. Check out their cool cards. Buy a Draymond Green card and then burn it.
Yeah.
Who do you guys give Jam Star to in this one?
This is a tough one. What do you think, Geek?
Grayson Allen, because you know what? Despite 3 turnovers, I feel like he really was cooking in this game and had some good moments out there as well. Was carrying our offense up until that injury, man, which is why I am a little concerned that hopefully he doesn't miss too many games. I'm giving it to Grayson Allen, man.
I think I'll echo what Geek said just because I can't think for myself.
I'm gonna give it to Dylan Brooks
Ugh.
and Mark Williams in the fourth quarter. No, I'll give it to Grayson Allen, I guess.
I would have given it to Dylan if that last possession didn't happen.
It was just, I was just
God,
watching
dude, we're
again
so
while
harsh on that.
you guys were talking. I was watching. I was like, it's such a horrible possession. He gets it 3 times, it's knocked away from him, and then he just shoots a shitty 3-pointer.
Mhm.
And like, there's Jordan Goodwin standing like a 10-foot shot he would have made and just easily at least given us a chance. Anyways, I do want to touch briefly on the trade deadline. The Phoenix Suns make one move today. They trade Nigel Hayes-Davis and Nick Richards to the Milwaukee Bucks. The Chicago Bulls are routed into the trade, so ultimately Nick Richards ends up with the Bulls. The Suns in return shave about $2.7 million in payroll, receive back Amir Coffey. The best part of waking up is Amir Coffey, and Cole Anthony from UNC, son of Greg Anthony. So, Suns Geek, I know that you went live after the trade deadline. I saw your show was on. I was busy at work. I'm like, I want to hear what Suns Geek's saying. So, just give me kind of an overview. What are your thoughts on this deal, and how do you feel about saying goodbye to Nick Richards?
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm actually kind of tired right now. But yeah, I did go live. A lot of it was reactionary and everything. First off, shout out to Nick Richards and Nigel Hayes-Davis. I wish them the best. But this was a good move in my personal opinion. I'm not like crazy about it. I'm not like jumping for joy or anything, but like we got 2 guys off of our roster who just weren't playing. Not saying they weren't like contributing in the locker room or anything, but they just weren't playing. And when they did play, they weren't very productive. So we hopefully can bring in 2 guys, which is still kind of yet to be determined because there's been some stuff on Cole Anthony. I don't even know if he's going to play for the Suns or not.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to bring in hopefully one of them, and hopefully they can produce, especially with all these injuries apparently. But you know, like I didn't really know much about Amir Coffey up until like today. I knew the name. I knew he played for the Clippers, but he's a lot taller and longer than he looks. I'll tell you that. He's labeled as a guard, but he's like a forward. He's like 6'7" or something like that. And played pretty well when he was with the Clippers. So hopefully maybe a new change of scenery can help him out. And then same thing with Cole Anthony, man. When he was with the Orlando Magic, he had some pretty good moments, pretty good games, good season here and there. I know he was really high, ranked high coming out of college and all that. I believe he was a lottery pick. That was around the time like we started doing pods and everything. And I remember looking into him because back then we had a lot more time to look into draft picks and everything. I was like, Cole Anthony's a bucket, man. Why not? Now, obviously, this season, I think he's been injured a lot. The Bucks haven't been very good. We'll have to see if he even plays a game with us. And like you mentioned, we shredded some salary. We're under the luxury tax. So overall, I give it like a B+, B-. Not crazy about it, but what do you guys think?
What do you got, Matthew?
When I was thinking that when I see the Richards trade come through, I knew it would just be like 4-player released or whatever. Like I wasn't really too worried about who we were getting back. With Cole Anthony, did have his moment a couple years ago where NBA TV, picked up him watching the games and stuff with his dad and stuff growing up, and Greg Anthony and them crying on the couch and stuff like that. So that's a moment I remember in his career. I don't even know what that moment was. I just remember watching. It was like a documentary or something about those guys, and I'm like, these guys are ugly. I don't want to watch this. They're not like they're not like Horford, I'm not gonna stick around and watch these guys.
they're not cutie patooties.
Yeah, but it's Richards. I feel like I got to say that he really was still holding himself together very well on the bench. He wasn't getting any minutes. He was frustrated with his play, obviously, because he knew this team really needed him, and he just could not come through on big moments for them. Obviously, when he's coming off the bench, backing up Mark Williams, and then Oso's kind of taking his minutes, and then he's messing up, he's throwing like long passes down the court, getting picked off and stuff. So I know it was a rough season for him, but thanks for holding it together and finishing out to the trade deadline. And now the Suns, have the opportunity maybe for a guy that get him off the what is it, the
buyout market?
Buyout, yeah,
market. So I don't know. I'm not too crazy about it. Obviously nothing too crazy to worry about, right?
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Vicky, the great Nick Richards. Richard means Dick, that's why he's Vicky, the great Nick Richards.
The last time we play that drop until 1 month from today, because that's when the Suns play the Chicago Bulls, March 5th at home, and then April 5th in Chicago. Ultimately, this was the right move for the Suns. And I know a lot of people out there really were frustrated with the fact that the Suns didn't go and get a power forward. Everybody, we needed a power forward. And in my personal and humble opinion, there wasn't much out there that was attainable for the Suns to acquire relative to that position. Yep. And also, why are we chasing positions, right? Because if this team has shown us anything this year, is that it's not about position and roster construction, because at the beginning of the season, these same people were frustrated with the roster construction, and then this team entering tonight was 31-20, right? A horrible loss tonight, but it doesn't change the direction and the chemistry of this team moving forward. These guys on this team right now have earned the right to stick together and not to dish Jalen Green. Well, if you take his $33 million, you can go and get Michael Porter Jr. Fucking, you want to destroy this team and this chemistry? Bring in a Michael Porter Jr. type who doesn't defend in any capacity. He grabs rebounds. We have rebounding problems. Yeah, but he doesn't defend. Now we have a defense problem. Like you can't be chasing this what we could be with. You should be appreciating what is the Phoenix Suns now. Now obviously, Cole Anthony at some point will be waived in an effort to clear a secondary roster spot, because we still have one open roster spot. And those two final roster spots, in theory, would be filled by our two-way guys, Isaiah Livers and Jamari Bouye. Now, granted, every day that goes by, the Suns save money by not signing Jamari Bouye or Isaiah Livers, about $13,000 per day. So it's going to happen as they get close to their games being up relative to a two-way player. And given the fact that Jalen Green's out, Devin Booker's out, fucking Grayson Allen's probably out, you might want to bring Cole Anthony in here and give him some time and some opportunity to play, because you're down to like Colin Gillespie and Jordan Goodwin. You know, like we don't have a stable of guards anymore, even though all people did all offseason was say, well, we have too many guards. We need to, we need a power forward. And it's like, yeah, but we're also like the 5th best offensive rebounding team in the league. We're the 7th best second chance points team in the league. It's not always about the height of the players on your team. It's about the heart they possess. And that's what this team has, is they have heart, and they've earned the right to see how this goes. And anybody who's out there and thinks, well, if we had gotten a power forward, we would have won a fucking championship. Guess what? Nothing we would have done today would increase our odds of winning a championship. So be thankful for who and what we are this season. We'll deal with all those decisions in the offseason. And there's plenty of decisions to be made. Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, perhaps Jalen Green. So much lies ahead. But none of that needed to be blown up in a season that was defined by being patient, transitional. Let it be patient, allow it to take root and to ride out the process of being transitional and make those decisions at a later date. You don't define a culture by bringing guys in, get them to buy in, and then ship them out because you're like, ooh, MPJ, or ooh, that guy fits a roster construction thing. So the Suns made the right move, in my opinion. I wrote a whole article about it today on Bright Side of the Sun. Go check it out. I really just kind of, it took me like 2 days to write it because I knew that's what the Suns were going to do. I knew that they weren't going to make any major moves, and I wanted to articulate. And here's the other thing I will say. For all the people who says, well, we don't have size and we don't have depth now at the center position. Guess what? We just drafted size. We have Kaman Malawach. We have Rasheer Fleming, who everyone's been banging the fucking drum. We need to see Malawach. We need to see Fleming. Well, guess what? Those opportunities shall arrive for them now. There's going to be some extra minutes in the rotation for Kaman Malawach if need be. There's going to be extra opportunities for Rasheer Fleming if need be. And guess what? 2 years from now, those guys are going to be in a position to be our starting power forward and our starting center. So why would we bring anyone in to try to block their development and block potential minutes that they could utilize this year in development, en route to a team that's probably going to be might win one round, might win 2 rounds, but has no chance beating Denver, OKC, the Spurs, or the Houston Rockets. We can win a round if we're like the 3 seed somehow. We play the Lakers or vice versa, but we're really not going to go forth and conquer the NBA. So let this opportunity ahead of us take root and give it time to grow and prosper.
Yeah, I agree. But honestly, I kind of disagree because I knew the Suns would not do anything. But 10 years from now, as Suns fans, we're going to be like, we had a chance to get Giannis, and we could have traded just for Devin Booker. We would have won a championship that year.
But we don't have any draft picks. What's funny
is Devin Booker might be the best thing they can get back, though, if we look at it for 10 years from now. I'm just saying, like, there's a guy in Giannis out there, and I think really in the future, we're going to look back and be like, dude, we had that team going, and Booker was hurt, and then Jalen Green, maybe if he was healthy, came back, and we had a chance to get Giannis to pair with those guys. Man, we could have won a championship.
But we couldn't have because we knew that the Milwaukee Bucks wouldn't accept Giannis for Booker straight up. They would have won draft capital that we don't have. No
one's trading draft picks at all, though. The first round draft picks are not there.
Jared McCain was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a first round
second round draft picks
and 3 second rounds.
Yeah, it was one first round.
There were a lot of first round.
That was like the only first round draft pick. That was
traded. The Jazz traded away 3 to Memphis. In order to get Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, that's a good pickup, though.
Anthony Davis went for 2 first rounders and 3 second rounders.
Yep.
You know what's funny about the trade deadline? 3 members of the Phoenix Suns, former members of the Phoenix Suns, were traded twice. Jock Landale, Dario Saric, and Tyus Jones all got traded twice in the last 2 days.
When Dario popped up, I'm like, oh shit, he's still playing? I actually didn't even know he's still playing.
Yeah, he was out there. He was with Sacramento, and I think he's with the Bulls now. No, I think he got traded again. Who knows? But again, that's just those are my thoughts on the trade deadline. There's nothing. What's funny is if you look at this team a decade ago, remember the team that won 48 wins? Surprisingly had success, didn't make the playoffs because of the playoff structure back then. But what Ryan McDonough did is he completely fucked it up after that, right? This was a good team, and he started to get too trigger happy. And next thing you know, we have three point guards holding the ball for a picture, and they're like, hey, look at this. This is kind of cute. And it just messed things up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of teams are that way though now, right? I think everyone's kind of calm a little bit. There were a lot of trades, There were, but a lot of those trades were mostly like the older players kind of getting moved out and just kind of getting teams getting off their salaries and stuff like that. But there's not a whole lot of teams I feel like I can see in the future that are going to make the big trades like the Suns did. Obviously, I think the Suns are the last team to do it in the last 2 years. But other than that, like no other team is really going to do that. Like even the Luka trade for Anthony Davis, I don't think that was a trade that was like. I think there's more behind that. Obviously, there's more behind it where it's like it has to do with his performance and all that. But you're not going to see teams trade away the farm anymore for guys and just make those big because they know if they get a good culture, they get a good guy to kind of be their star in the way like the Suns kind of do, or even like a Halliburton in Indiana. You got enough. If you got a system, you got a good coach, they're going to lean more towards that way. Just instead of like, hey, we're going to be the Wizards now, get Trae Young and get Anthony Davis and try to get butts in the seats next year and try to make the play in or something like I don't know.
Yeah, this is not the Phoenix Suns of old. I truly believe that they are going to build this thing from the ground up, and they're going to keep building that culture and it's next man up mentality, you guys. I truly believe that. I think that's going to be the motto going forward. And John, I just have to say, man, that was one of the best segments you have ever done so far on this podcast. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe for great segments like that, because that was awesome, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I feel like I've been battling people on Twitter all day telling me that Michael Porter Jr. is what we should have done. I'm like, dude, that is the exact opposite of what we should have done. Stop building this team with how you would in 2K and start watching this team.
Exactly.
You can't have that many personalities anymore in the locker room. You can't.
You need cohesion.
We know
cohesion
it doesn't work.
Is the new thing.
Yeah, we keep harping on these teams to like have those big names all together and just make it work, but we always are. We're sitting there waiting constantly, and
this
just
is
never
not
does.
the Suns of old, man. We're not going to do that. And Michael Porter's having a borderline all-star season. We've talked about this on the pod and everything, but doesn't mean the Suns are just going to go trade for him. That's not how it works anymore, you guys.
With Jaylen Brown and with their team over there, like they're doing good. But before Jason Tatum, like we thought that team was going to break up because of those two personalities, but they won a championship. I feel like they're the last team to do that. It might be the last for a while where you have two guys of that caliber together in the locker room. It just doesn't work anymore.
And to Matthew's point, that's what you saw at the trade deadline was teams trying to duck the second apron, duck the luxury tax, because
get rid of the old guys.
Yeah, because now we're hitting this point to where there is a ton of penalties because it's going on to its fourth season of existing, and that's when all the penalties come in. So the league's kind of like, hey, you got 3 years to get right, but after that, like, you get penalized pretty substantially. And like the Suns, that's what happened. If they were to end this season over the luxury tax, their tax repeater would be $2.50 for every dollar spent. Yeah. So if they spent $1 million, it would actually cost them $2.5 million over the luxury tax. So a lot of teams are doing that. The other thing that I found really interesting with this trade deadline was the fact that so many teams not only were moving guys to get under the luxury tax, but they were moving guys in an effort to sign two-way players. So like Jamari Bouye is going to get signed from a two-way to a guaranteed contract. Dominic Barlow with the Philadelphia 76ers. Yep. There's a lot of deep talent in this league, which means the league's in a great place. And ultimately the CBA is working effectively because it's saving owners from themselves, because that's the way it's designed to do. You keep spending, we're going to tax you so hard you'll never want to spend again. It's happening, and the depth is being fortified at the baseline level of this league, which is great.
Yeah, every week there's a new guy. I'm like, oh, who's this? Great talent. And it makes you want to watch these guys. Like if you do have League Pass, like the Hornets, of course, are one of those teams that I love to watch. And
me too.
I have loved to watch them the last month. Like before they actually had their
beat the Rockets.
Today. The reason you can tell like they're going to be good is because their star LaMelo, whatever, kind of turns a little bit to where he's more of an actual like contributor, and he's
coming off the bench
ball
now.
Yeah, but he's taking a step back. Like these guys know that that's just kind of the way the NBA is now. It's like it's what Adam Silver wants, right? He wants everyone kind of be equal and the same in a way, and it kind of feel like it's kind of turning that way. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these trades today and yesterday, I'm like, oh, that's cool, it's fine. I was never thinking like, oh, if this name is traded, oh my god, like even with Giannis, if he was traded, I'm like, all right, well, good luck. Like that doesn't mean an automatic championship anywhere right now. Yep. I don't feel that with these big name stars, and you see it with Houston right now too, man. Like they lost to the Hornets tonight, and they traded two guys that are killer for us.
To win so bad tonight, man, because like that would have made 4 teams 8 games back of the Thunder if we would have won tonight because they lost tonight. It's like,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
right there for
Yeah,
us.
I know. It's like every team is beatable right now, I think, in the NBA, and we have to admit that.
And as the season keeps going on, you guys, we can't have many of these bad losses because
No.
of that exact reason. Because it's like if this team wins or this team loses, like the Suns are going to go down. Like they can't have these losses anymore. Obviously, we're going to lose, but not these type of losses. You know what I mean? So every win matters in the Western Conference.
Still pissed.
Yep.
Well, that's going to be it for the pod. I still have to write an article. So I appreciate everyone who decided to stop by and hang out with us. And I hope that you have us on mute around your kids because this isn't one where you're going to play with your children around.
Put them in the closet,
lot of
listen to it, and take them out.
But Suns Geek, let everyone know where they can follow you.
Yep, just search Suns Geek on YouTube, search Suns Geek and on TikTok and Twitter and all that fun stuff. I'm on this podcast a lot, and I'm always uploading content. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. So check me out, Suns Geek on YouTube.
Matthew, where they can follow you? Into the closet?
Yeah, into the closet and out of it.
Perfect.
Deeply closeted, though. It's a deep. It goes way back. You ever hear the Norm Macdonald joke?
No, but it sounds like the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe."
Oh, we'll talk about it next episode.
Excellent. Norm Macdonald, October 17th, baby. You can follow me at Darth Void. You can read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com. We appreciate everyone again for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. Matthew, tell them what to do.
I love your family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.